Hello and welcome. This is another sixth grade math video where we're going to talk about how to do addition and subtraction with decimals. Okay, so here is our first example. Now, the most important thing to keep in mind when adding or subtracting decimals is that when we line the numbers up on top of each other, otherwise known as stacking, we want the decimals to be all lined up by place values. So let's look at the numbers we're subtracting here. We've got 8 minus 0.67. Okay, so I'm going to start by writing the 8 because when we're subtracting, we always have to put the first number on the top. Now, the problem with the 8 is it's a whole number. There is no decimal here, but we can add a decimal where it should be. So decimals always come after the ones place. So I'm going to go ahead and put a decimal after that 8 right there. Now, that is where the invisible decimal always is. Even if we don't write it there because we have no decimals after the ones place, it's always there, but we can just make it reappear so that we can use it to help us line things up. Now we have the 0.67. So I'm going to put the decimal for the second number right under the first decimal. Now I can fill in the numbers on either side of the decimal. So I can put the 0 here in the ones place and the 6, 7 in the tenths and hundredths place. Then I'll put a line, my subtraction sign, and then I'll put the decimal for the answer right under those. So as long as all the decimals are lined up, just like buttons on a snowman, we're good to go. Now, some people are like, well, there's nothing about the 6 and 7, right? And there isn't. But if it makes you feel more comfortable, you can put zeros there so that looks more familiar to something you're used to subtracting. So we'll go over to the hundredths place. We can't take 7 away from 0. So we have to go to the tenths place to see if we can borrow there. And we can't. So we got to go all the way to the ones place and take one of those ones away, break it into 10 tenths, and give it to the tenths place. Now we still need something for the hundredths place. So now we're going to have to take one of those tenths away, break it into 10 hundredths, and give it to the hundredths place. So there is all of our regrouping. So now 10 minus 7 is 3, 9 minus 6 is also 3, and 7 minus 0 is 7. So our final answer here would be 7.33. Okay, here's our next example. We're going to take 2.61 and subtract 1. So let's start by putting 2.61 in our workspace. And then I'm going to put the decimal for the second number right under it. And if I wanted to, I could go ahead and put the line, the subtraction sign, and the decimal for the answer right under it, just so I can make sure everything's lined up. So now when we're taking away 1, again, 1 does not have a decimal, but there is a 1 in the ones place. So I'm going to go ahead and put that 1 right here. Now there's no tenths in the number 1. So I'm just going to put a 0 right here for 0 tenths. Now I can go ahead and subtract. 6 minus 0 is 6, and 2 minus 1 is 1. So final answer here would be 1.6. Okay, here's our next example. 7.22 minus 2.28. So I'm going to start by putting 7.22 up here on the top, subtract it, the subtraction sign, put a decimal for the second number right under that decimal, and the decimal for the answer right under that line. And everything is lined up. So 7.22 is already there. The second number has a 2 in the ones place, a 2 in the tenths place, and an 8 in the hundredths place. Okay, so now everything's lined up and ready to go. We'll go back to the hundredths place. I cannot take 8 away from 2, so I have to go to the tenths place, take one of those tenths away, break it into 10 tenths, and give it to 10 hundredths, and give it to the hundredths place. So if I add 10 to 2, I get 12. So there's now 12 hundredths there. 12 minus 8 is 4. And I go over to the tens place and I can't take 2 away from 1. So I got to go to the ones place, take one of those ones, break it into 10 tenths, and give it to the tenths place. Well, they already had 1 tenth. So if I give them 10 more tenths, that makes 11 tenths. 11 minus 2 is 9. So that's going to be a 9. And 6 minus 2 is 4. So my final answer here would be 4.94. Okay, here is my next one. For this one, we're actually adding. So it really doesn't matter what number I put on top, but just to stay with consistency, I'll just put the first number on top. So I'm going to go ahead and put 80.036 on the top. Then I'm going to add a decimal for my second number, put a line, put the plus sign this time, and then I'm going to put a decimal down here right under those other two decimals for my answer. Now I can fill in the second number. The second number has 6 tens, 8 ones, so that would go on the left side of the decimal, and it has 7 tenths, 4 hundredths, and 4 thousandths. So all of that goes to the right side of the decimal. Now I can go ahead and start adding. So I'm going to go all the way to the thousandths place. 6 plus 4 is 10. So I have to put a 0 here and regroup that 1 to the next place value. 1 plus 3 is 4, and 4 plus 4 is 8. So I'm going to put an 8 here. 0 plus 7 is 7. 0 plus 8 is 8. And 8 plus 6 is 14. So my final answer here is going to be 148.780. Now you may have noticed this ended with a 0 at the very end of a decimal. If that's the case, you can cut that off and you would have the same answer, because having 0 hundredths is the same as just having nothing in the hundredths place if that's your last digit. So you could also write it like this, 148.78. Okay, here is our last problem for today's video. We're going to take 0.977 and subtract 0.791. So again, it's subtraction, so we know that the first number has to go on top. So I'm going to do 0.977. I'm going to put the decimal for the second number below it, a subtraction sign, the equals bar, and then the decimal for my answer. So I know that everything is lined up. Now I can go ahead and fill in the second number. There's a 0 to the left of the decimal in the ones place, so I'll put that there. And then to the right of the decimal, there's a 7, a 9, and a 1. Okay, so now let's go ahead and start subtracting. I'll go all the way to the thousands place, and 7 minus 1 is 6. So no regrouping needed there. When I go to the hundredths place, I can't take 9 away from 7. So I have to go to the tenths place and take one of those tenths away, break it into 10 hundredths, and give it to the hundredths place. Hundredths place already had 7 hundredths. So if I give them 10 more, they would have 17 hundredths. 17 minus 9 is 8. So I'm going to put that 8 there. And then 8 minus 7 is 1. And 0 minus 0 is 0. So this final answer would be 0.186. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to see you again soon.